Hello and welcome, welcome in, come on in. We finally made it to the free masterclass, my very first official one. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so happy that you are here. So as you are jumping on, please say hi. I want to know that you're here. And if you're watching the replay, let me know that you're watching the replay as well. Say hi. So my name is Jenna. I am your life design coach, and I am all about helping women get out of that autopilot yucky loop, the one that you're just feeling like you're just sitting in a spiral, and maybe you're spiraling down a little bit and you're like, no, this is not me. This is not the way that my life should be going. I am passionate. I am obsessed with this work about getting you out of that passenger seat and into the driver's seat of your life, into owning your life, no longer managing your life, owning your life. And so again, here we are in the Get in the Driver's Seat of Your Life Masterclass. And so today I am going to give you everything that I know. I'm going to give you a little bit about my story, and I'm going to give you actually some journal prompts as well. So if you have pen, paper handy, that would be very, very helpful in about the middle of this masterclass. I will be looking down because I do have notes. I want to make sure that we stay on track. I do get on side tangents quite a bit and share a little too much detail. And so I want to save all of that for later when we can, in other ways of working with me, and then so we can just get started and focus on this, and we'll stay on task. Okay, so you'll hear me clicking over here. I'm just looking at notes, okay? So again, this is a masterclass, okay? So here this masterclass is all about awareness. It's about ownership. It's about recalibration. We're going to be recalibrating your life. This masterclass is not just extra fluff and more information. I'm not here to spread more information. I am here to disrupt. I want to disrupt you in your mindset, in the way that you're thinking, in the way that the things that you're believing, the things that you've inherited, the things that you've just accepted, the labels that have been slapped on you. I want to disrupt all of that. So this is not just information, okay? And so, and information, I guess I should take a step back. Information, a lot of the time seems like, oh, okay, it's just another self-help thing. It's just more hustle culture. We've heard all about that, right? With network marketing and, other, other people that are out on the internet. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, you just gotta grind more. You just gotta be grateful, and you just gotta keep going. You gotta keep going. They're not stopping. They're not disrupting this pattern and saying, hey, time out. Let's actually take a look and see what's not working, why it's not working, and then, figure out what, I guess I like to call it, do a life audit, figure out different areas in your life, and then what direction do you want to head in, and then get you going in that direction, okay? And so this is not about becoming a completely different person overnight. This is about awareness. It's about ownership. It's about alignment. It's about identity. Nervous system recalibration. I know that seems like a super big word. It's like, wait, what? Like, what is that? You really jumped, Jenna. Hang tight, stick with me, because I put that golden nugget in there for something at the very end of this. So tonight is for the woman who is looking like externally she's got it all together. I've got it all together. I've accepted all the agendas. I've checked off all of the boxes. Give it to me. I can handle it. Like, I'll never drop the ball. I've got this, right? And so she thinks, my life should look great. I'm successful. I'm a high achieving woman. I've got this. But internally, she's actually feeling like this life doesn't even feel like hers. It's not one that she signed up for. She's thinking, where did I go wrong? I've got all of this stuff. I've done all of these things. I've checked all of the boxes. I've said yes. I've held it all together. I haven't dropped the ball. And is this it? Like, I feel like I made for more, but can I handle more? I mean, I know I can, but is this the right thing to be doing? That's what this is. That's who this is for. The woman who feels like that. The woman who is successful, but is exhausted. The one that's responsible, but resentful. The one who is capable, but emotionally exhausted. Can we say that one again? Emotionally exhausted. The woman who has spent so much time surviving, performing, carrying all these expectations, the weight, right? Over-functioning. And then somewhere along the way, she lost connection with herself. So something that I really, I'm going to be truthful here. When I was looking through my notes and I was studying for this masterclass, I was like, what is something that I really want to start with? Like, what's something that is true to my core that I can share with the world? What's the one thing that I want to make sure that I stick into this masterclass? And here it is. This is something that we need to start with. We need to start right here, right now. You were set apart. You were set apart. In 1 Thessalonians 4, verse 3, it says, "It is God's will that you should be sanctified." Sanctified means that we are set apart. We're different. We're holy. We should be becoming more like Jesus, right? God's will for you was never for you to blend in with the world. And what do I mean by that? Blending in with the world is being on autopilot. Blending in with the world means that you're listening to the same things. You're watching the same TV shows. You're signing up for the same things, I'll go ahead and I'll go do that every single night. Or I don't want to get into like too detail of examples. Let's just leave it generic. But are you acting different? Do you have a different mindset? Do you have different values, different beliefs? Or have you just been accepting, inheriting, unknowingly, unconsciously, just going with the flow? Just like the rest of the world, all around us. Because in the Bible it states that you were set apart. You were not created to live on autopilot like everyone else. Like consuming the same things, thinking the same way, living disconnected from your purpose, disconnected from alignment, disconnected from intentionality. That's what I just talked about. Are you being intentional with your life, or are you just following suit? Because you are a child of God. You belong to the kingdom of heaven. So what are we doing? We're not here to be on autopilot. This is not it. Okay? Because your life should look different from the rest. And what do I mean by that? Your standards should look different. Your peace should look different. Your decisions should look different. Your leadership should look different. Everything about you should look different. It should look different, feel different, smell different, right? Some people, you can just smell them from a mile away. All of that should be different. But many women have unknowingly somehow adapted to this survival mode. Survival mode. Doesn't that hit hard? Survival mode instead of surrendering to alignment, surrendering to what God has here for you. The top regret of the dying is not living a life, not having the courage to live the life true to oneself, that they were living for others, what others expected of them. I mean, I've heard enough. If that's the number one regret of the dying, like, I am here to stand and like make a movement on that. I've heard enough. When they've done that, they become consumed by pressure, by performance, by people pleasing, by responsibility, and emotional overload. Yeah. And then eventually, right? Eventually, the responsibility and the overload and all of that, they stop living an intentional life, and that life leads to a life of just reacting, right? You're no longer focusing on what you should be focusing on. You're just reacting to everything that's coming your way because you're just taking it on. Whatever you see, whatever you hear, whatever you feel, whatever you smell, right? You're just taking it on. It's like, okay, like I'm over here still hustling, still just doing my, whatever I inherited. The labels that have been slapped on me, I've just said yes to them. No. Okay? No. We're done. We're done with those labels. So tonight we're waking up to that. We're waking up to that. And if you haven't noticed, there's been so many posts that I've put on my social media, and I have said this again and again and again. High achieving women do not struggle because they are incapable. They struggle because they become too capable at surviving disconnected from themselves. So what do I mean by that? Like I said, this was for the woman who is too capable. She's been way too capable because she's been checking all the boxes, doing all the things, inheriting all the things, and just like dealing with it, right? On the outside, externally, she looks like she's got life all together, but internally, she's disconnected. She's like, what have I done? I've done everything right. Why? Like, what is wrong? What is wrong? Right? She's the fixer. She's the reliable one. She's the one that's the emotional container that everybody talks to and needs help from. And she's so honored at that, right? But when she's disconnected from herself and she's like, okay, like what? There's got to be more for me here. She just she hasn't done the work. She hasn't done the deep work inside, right? She's disconnected. She's the one that carries everything for everyone else. And then over time, that slowly turns into self-abandonment. Ouch. Trust me, the first time that I heard that, I was like, oh, it's that deep? I've gone that far? I've been abandoning myself? What does that look like? That's scary. You hear about, being abandoned, children being abandoned and pets and stuff, and you're just like, oh, you get sick to your stomach, right? But then I'm like, self-abandonment? Like, me? What? To myself? I've done this to myself? Wait, no, hold on a minute. And it doesn't actually feel like it at first because you're so disconnected. But then when you take a step back, you'll peel back the layers, and you take an audit of your life, and you look at, oh my gosh, that's right. I don't even know what my priorities are anymore. I don't know what my hobbies are. I don't know what I like to do. I don't know what I used to like to do. I don't know, self-abandonment. No more self-love, no more self-trust, no more caring for yourself. No more going the extra mile for yourself. No more taking time for yourself. That's self-abandonment. And I know it stings. It stings so bad. So like, what? No, that's a, no, yeah. Guilty. So tonight I want to walk you through how to recognize where you have been in the passenger seat of your life. Again, how you got there, and then how to begin stepping back into ownership, getting into the driver's seat, from the passenger seat into the driver's seat, okay? So by the end of this, as I said before, you would recognize the patterns that are keeping you stuck in autopilot, and that you would understand why success still feels misaligned. And then identify where you've been abandoning yourself. We just talked about that. Understand the difference between managing and leading your life. And then walking away with a clear decision, one immediate decisive action that you can take while you're in the driver's seat and then in the direction that you crave. So creating a life, designing a life that is true to you. Because we don't want to be another top regretter, right? We don't want to be doing that. So, and most importantly, you'll leave seeing differently. You're going to see things differently. The things I'm going to tell you and show you, you're not going to be able to unsee. And I want that to stay with you. I want that to stay. So at the end of tonight, I will be giving you an invitation. It's not about more information, but in implementation, okay? Awareness is the first step, but if you're aware of it and you're not taking that next step into implementation, you're not going deeper at a deeper level, there's not going to be any change. And so that's why I've got an invitation for you after this. So, like I said, awareness is powerful. It's so, so powerful. But awareness alone does not create that embodiment. And that embodiment is what we need. That is what creates that change. So this masterclass is designed to wake you up. Like I said, I wanted to disrupt. I want to disrupt it all. I'm not going to be the coach who's like, oh, here I want to help you with this. No, I want to disrupt it. Like, I want to help you, of course, but I want to disrupt it. I want to go further. I want to go deeper. So this masterclass is all about awareness, okay? Awareness. And let's see here. So let me get to my thing. So the deeper implementation process is something that I call recalibration mode. Recalibration mode. What does that mean? It means that, like, I'm no longer operating from this version of me, the version that was just stuck in survival, because that's no fun. Now that we're kind of aware of, okay, like, maybe I have been sitting in survival. We don't want that anymore, right? We want to recalibrate to a different identity, a different mode. Okay? Recalibration, it's not becoming someone new. I want to be clear. It's not going to be like an overnight thing. It's going to be little shifts by little shifts, having the awareness and then the embodiment and implementation every single day. And it's going to make you, like I said, you're not going to be becoming something new, but it's going to be making you return back to what is true of you. Because the truth is, this is all about learning how to unbecome the things that were not for you. Okay? Stripping back the things. Like, hey, you're not signing up for that, okay? You're not signing up for that anymore. We're done with that. Whatever identity it is, whatever thought it is, whatever belief it is, whatever expectation it was that you just so generously and willingly took on, those are the things that we're gonna unbecome those things. We want to get back down to the truest version of you. I've seen those. I can't remember it is. It's like a famous rock statue or whatever, and he's like taking a chisel or whatever and knocking all the stuff off or whatever, and then this man, the true man, is standing there, and it's like, that's exactly what this is. All the baggage, all of the labels, all of the stuff that you just have on you everywhere. This is what the recalibration mode is chipping away all of that extra stuff down to your true core values, your true core, like your beliefs, the limiting beliefs are no longer there. We're human, right? And so we're going to be butting up against things again and again. But when we take those things away, it's less and less and less and less. And that's recalibration mode. Okay? So it's returning to what is true. It's realigning to the woman that God created you to be underneath that survival mode, underneath those survival patterns, the conditioning, the burnout, the overfunctioning, and the autopilot living. Okay? Because you're not broken. You're not broken. You're just disconnected. You're not lost. You're just disconnected. Remember, you are a high achieving woman and you are too capable. That's what put you in this. You're too capable. Okay? But what do we do with that piece? Well, let's become too capable in being the truest version of you. Okay? I like that. I like that. Let's do that. Okay. So, a little bit about recalibration mode. When women enter recalibration mode, something shifts. They stop abandoning themselves. They stop reacting emotionally to life. They stop living according to survival, and they start leading themselves intentionally. Ugh, that's my lane right there. Leading themselves intentionally. So the hidden reality behind these high achieving women. Wow. When you are a high achieving woman, back then I didn't believe that I was, but when I give you this list of things, and if you say yes, check, guess what? Welcome to the High Achieving Club. Glad you're here with me. So this is the list. Most high achieving women think they need better habits. They need to be more disciplined. They need more motivation. They need another planner, another routine. They need a different strategy, right? But what is all of that? All of that is just surface level work. It's surface level, okay? And the real issue, I'm gonna give you a new word here. The real issue is identity drift. Identity drift. Your identity has been drifting and drifting and drifting and drifting as you've continued to allow those labels to be slapped on you from whoever it is. All of the expectations, all of the labels that you have accepted, everything that you've accepted, you've slowly drifted. When you take one step and like, okay, I don't want to do that, but okay, that's fine. Like it'll be good. It'll be fine. I can handle this. You're one step away from yourself, your true version. And then another thing comes along and you're like, okay, I guess I'll do that. I guess, like, I don't really, it's not really like me, but okay, it's fine. I can take care of it, whatever. And then the next thing comes. You're like, okay, just a little bit. I'll just do it one more time. Okay, one more time. Do you see how you're starting to drift further and further away from your true self? That's identity drift. And it's so sad that so many women don't know about this. I mean, I was one of them, right? And this is when they start, again, like these are my notes, but I just talked about this. This is when they start living according to the expectations, conditioning, the roles, the pressure, the survival patterns, the responsibility, the external validation. And then eventually your life stops reflecting who you truly are. I just talked about that. What I want to let you in on this passenger seat living. You're not lazy. Passenger seat living does not mean that you're lazy. Okay. Again, you're a high achieving woman and you are too capable. And this is why we put ourselves in this spot. You are not lazy. You're not lazy. You're just living disconnected from the conscious version of you, from conscious ownership, from owning your life. In the passenger seat, you're managing it. You're managing all the stuff. You're juggling all the balls. Oh, okay, I got this. In the driver's seat, you've got conscious ownership. You're owning your life. You're saying, nope, I'm no longer throwing these balls around and juggling, being in the circus. I'm going to be conscious about designing a life that I truly love. So that's the difference between passenger seat and driver's seat. Again, you are not lazy. Just because you're in the passenger seat does not mean you're lazy, because it's like the opposite. Because you're too capable. You're too capable. You just accepted everything and you're just on this autopilot. We got to get you out of there and into the driver's seat. So again, it's all about managing life instead of intentionally leading it and owning it. So this is important, okay? This piece is really important, because back when I started this work about 9-10 years ago, I've lost track now, there were leaders, books, self-development, personal development gurus who would bring up the question, so what are your passions? What are your dreams? What would your dream day look like to you? What do you desire? What do you crave? What's the number one thing? What do you want to leave behind in this world? What is the legacy? And I could not answer to any of that. I was like, well, wait, how do I even, this doesn't make sense. I don't know. I don't even know what I had for supper last night. I just don't even, what? Oh, back when you were a little girl, this and that. Well, I just, want to do X, Y, and Z. That has nothing to do with anything. Right? It's because, so when they were asking me these questions and I couldn't figure it out, it was because I was so stuck in survival mode that I could not visualize a different future, because, again, my nervous system was in a completely different state and I was stuck in the survival mode. I was stuck managing life, juggling all the balls in the air. So the thing is that when your body is dysregulated, you're only focusing on what's in front of you, your current circumstances. And most of the time you're playing the victim card to them, because you're just in survival mode. You don't see beyond. You don't have the clarity. You don't have the awareness. You don't have the emotional intelligence. You are just stuck in survival mode. How do I survive this? I can do this. I'm capable. I'm high achieving. I can do this. No, right? You're stuck hustling. You're stuck overthinking, managing, bracing for impact. But women who are regulated, they can finally see the possibility again. And that's why this recalibration matters. Recalibrating. I want you to be recalibrated. Get into that recalibration mode, because sustainable transformation requires nervous system safety. Okay? And so this is where I want to ask you something. How many of you feel like, I want you to be honest, how many of you feel like your life looks great? It looks fantastic on the outside, but inside, something internally feels off. Because we need to stop, and we need to, I'm going to disrupt this, because we need to stop and we need to actually answer with truth. You need to be so honest with yourself. You need to be so clear with yourself. You need to do this work. I don't want you stuck in autopilot anymore. I don't want you to be in the passenger seat, okay? Because that feeling of, I've got it all together, everybody sees that I've got it all together, but then inside, something feels off. It doesn't feel right. It almost feels like, this is not my life. I didn't sign up for this. I've done all of this stuff, and this is where I'm at. I'm made for more, right? That feeling is not random. That feeling is waking you up. It's trying to wake you up to getting out of the passenger seat and into the driver's seat of your life. No longer managing, but owning. Owning the life and saying, nope, I am going to take a new direction. I'm headed in this direction, and this is where I'm going, because it's going to take me to the life that I am designing, the one that I crave, the one that I was made for, because I am not going to be included in the number one top regret of the dying, not living a life true to yourself. Okay? So I'm, again, looking at my notes over here, and I want to, and I told you before that getting pen and paper would be very, very helpful. So let's take a look. Let me get up my notes here. I want to make sure I've got this here. Okay, so this is the passenger seat audit. Doesn't that sound fun? Passenger seat audit. Okay, so I've got a bunch of questions here for you. If my mouse would work, there we go. Okay, so the passenger seat audit, this is where we stop avoiding the truth. I just said that we need to stop and we need to be very bold and honest and truthful with ourselves. So this is where we stop avoiding the truth. Okay, we're not here to shame ourselves, we're here to wake ourselves up. So the first category now is about decisions. So this is the first question. What have you been avoiding? What have you been avoiding? Where have you been avoiding a decision? So what have you been avoiding? And if you're thinking, oh, I don't know, this is going to take you deeper. Where have I been avoiding a decision? There's been a decision on your mind that you've been putting off. Maybe it's going and having a conversation with somebody. Maybe it's that you've been thinking about something so often and so much that's been on your mind, and you just don't want to even make a decision about it. You're like, it's fine. I can just deal with it. Just shove it down. Just shove it down. It's fine. And then, where am I waiting instead of leading? Where are you waiting instead of leading? Another question, what part of my life feels unclear because I refuse to fully choose? Ooh, that doesn't feel good, does it? Because you refuse to fully choose. Every delayed decision, it quietly eats away at you. It quietly, how do I say this? It drains your power. I wanted to say it leaks your power, but it drains your power. Okay? So those decisions that are constantly on our mind 24/7, we need to make the decision to set ourselves free and get our energy back, save our energy. The next category of this audit is self-abandonment. I know, I said that word earlier. I know, I get it. Okay, so the first question is, where have I overfunctioned for others? Where am I overfunctioning for others? What am I constantly saying yes to? And this answer might be the question is kind of difficult because there are things that you've been saying yes to and overfunctioning. You've been overfunctioning on something that feels good to you. It feels right to you, but only because you have been stuck in this autopilot life. You haven't been intentional. You don't even know what your core values are. So if you don't know what your core values are, you don't know who you are, you haven't peeled back the layers, you don't even know what's not working, why are you in the passenger seat? If you don't even see that part yet, this one might be hard to answer because you're like, well, I don't see anything. It's because you're so used to it that it has now become the normal. But we will get there. We'll get there. As you stay with me, we'll dig deep and we'll find all of this stuff, okay? The next question is, where am I carrying responsibilities that were never mine? Is it my responsibility to take on X, Y, and Z's crazy relationship and have to help navigate this, keep this one happy over here, and so-and-so friend is over here, and I gotta do this and I gotta do that, carrying all these weights all the weight and all the responsibilities that are just never yours, right? Like, I don't know, it's not my, like, at this point, I'm like, there's so many things where I'm like, I don't know, it's not my responsibility. Do I care? Yes, but like, also, like, I can't sit here and drain my energy on this. Like, this is not my responsibility. The next one is, where have I silenced myself to maintain peace? That one's a tricky one. We all know that there's that this answer has to be related with some sort of family situation, friend situation, coworker situation, boss situation. Like, there's so many things here where we've silenced ourselves to maintain peace. And I'm not saying like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I'm not saying the flip side of that, right? Like, go and just tell them off and whatnot. Like, okay, like, we still need to be respectful, right? Like, we don't want to do any harm, okay? Just want to make that clear. So, so one thing I have on my notes here is I said that many women confuse being needed with being aligned. And that goes back to the other question where I was asking, or where I was saying that those answers might be hard to find because you are confusing. You're now confusing it with being needed, or this is just the way that it is. And this is just, this feels good and this feels true and this feels honest because I haven't taken a second to step back and actually find the true version of me. Is this just something I'm doing because I've watched my mom do it, or my dad do it, or my grandparents do it? Or is it something that's true to me? I know that there's been this story that's been going around, and I don't know if it was one of my coaches, Melanie, or I'm not sure who it was from, but they were talking about this fits so well that there was a story about it's like a chicken or a turkey or some sort of meat that was put into the oven, and they, from generation to generation to generation, they were cutting off each side of the turkey or the chicken, whatever, let's just say the turkey, and putting it in the oven. And little by little, generation by generation, they continue to do so, right? And that's just what they were doing. That's just like, okay, I saw my mom do this, I saw my grandma do this, I saw, like, I'm gonna do this. So I cut these off and I throw them away. And it finally got down to the granddaughter or whoever it was, I'm not sure, past generation, or new generations. And she was like, she took a second and she was like, hey, Mom, like, why do we cut this off and then put it in the oven? Oh, I don't know. Like, that's a good question. Let me ask Grandma. Ask Grandma. Oh, okay. And then ask great grandma or whoever it is, how far back it goes. I'm not sure, but she, at the end, she was like, oh, I had to cut it off because I didn't have a pan big enough. So all of these years in past generations, up to whatever point, they have been slicing the ends off of this turkey, whatever it is, because of great, whatever, grandma's pan was not big enough. Her oven was not big enough. This is exactly what I'm getting at here. We've seen all of this stuff in society. We've seen all of this stuff from past generations. We don't even know why we're doing it. We get confused by being needed with being aligned, right? You can get confused with the norm, but it doesn't mean that it's aligned. The third category of this audit is identity. Who have I become in order to survive? Who have you become? Who are you showing up as? Like, who are you right now? Who are you? What's your identity? List it down. Who are you being right here, right now in order to survive in survival mode? And then what roles am I exhausted from performing? So from this question that I just asked you, look at the list of that, all of the things that you've become, and out of those ones, what one are you exhausted from performing? Probably all of them, right? What version of yourself is trying to emerge? Which one is trying to emerge? Oh, that's a good one. So there's a difference between the identity that you've built and then the identity that is the actual true one. We just talked about this. The identity that you built, the one that was built unconsciously, the one that was built on autopilot, the one that you've just accepted all of the things, the labels, the societal norms, the generational curses, whatever you want to call it. And then I want to jump to the category 4 in this audit is alignment. This is the category, alignment. So I'm going to ask a couple questions about alignment. So what areas of your life look successful but feel misaligned? What looks successful but feels misaligned? Could be a story as like, well, my mom was a nurse, my grandma was a nurse, my aunt and my sister and whatever. And so I just went and I was like, okay, I need to become a nurse because it's just in my family. That's kind of an example of that. The next question is, within this alignment category is, what am I tolerating? What are you just tolerating? With something that you don't desire, you're just like, okay, accepting it. You're tolerating it. Ugh, yuck. What no longer fits the woman that I am becoming? What no longer fits to the truest version of you? And if you don't know what that is, wait, I've got that invitation coming. And that is why I call this recalibration. It's not destruction. It's not becoming a different person. Okay. It's about realignment. It's intentional correction. It's returning to truth. And if you haven't got an idea of what this is all about yet, I want to break it down plain and simple. So when you're in the passenger seat of your life, I like to call it's the manager, acting as the manager. What does a manager do? Well, a manager, let's look at my notes. It says a manager reacts. These are my notes. A manager reacts. They survive. They're just surviving in survival mode, right? They control everything because, oh my gosh, surrendering? No, that will never happen in my life. As long as I'm in the passenger seat. And they live by pressure. Pressure. Expectations. Remember, they're high achieving women. And then the owner is the driver's seat. The owner is the driver's seat. They're owning their life. And what does that look like? Let's look at my notes. An owner decides. She finally decides. She makes decisions, decisive action. She takes responsibility, 110% responsibility, radical self-responsibility. This one is so key. And now I'm getting even a side tangent here, and I shouldn't be. But this is one of the things that completely changed my life when I started doing this work. Taking full responsibility for myself, my life, my decisions, my thoughts, all of that. Like this is, this is good. Okay. So ownership, okay, right. So good. Self-responsibility, like taking radical ownership of all things in your life. This is key. This is a nugget, okay? And that's what the owner does. That's what the person in the driver's seat does. It stings at first, but oh, it's so good after. She owns herself and she lives by alignment, by her true self, down to her core. Because like I said, most women are managing their life, right? They're managing the emotions, the schedules, the stress, everyone else, everything else. But management is not leadership. You're managing all these things, and management is not leadership. I don't care what work says and whatnot, okay? Like, managing is not leadership. Like, they're completely separate. Completely separate. We don't want to be managing. We're in the driver's seat, and we want to be owning. We want to have leadership. That's where leadership comes from. We own it, okay? So, let's see. More notes. So the women that are in recalibration mode, they stop operating from survival. They become intentional. They become self-led. They become grounded. They become aligned. They stop asking themselves, how do I survive this? Like, here we go again. That loop stops when they're recalibrated. They start asking themselves that when we're recalibrated and they're finally in their truest form of them, who they are, they're being true to themselves, living a life true to themselves. They start asking, who is God calling me to be in this season? In this situation right now, in this year of my life, this chapter of my life, whatever it may be, who is God? Who's God calling me to be? They start asking so much better questions of themselves. Start focusing on other things, not the current circumstances right in front of them, because they're so stuck on survival. And this next section is not really a fun one, but I did talk about it in many posts back on my social media if you've been following along. So I told you that I would have to talk to you about the fears. The fears. It's not a fun one, but we need to stop, disrupt what's going on right now, get out of survival mode, and look the fears straight in the face, the lies, the expectations, the stuff that's not true to us. We need to look it in the eyes and say, hey, I see you. I now understand, but I'm not choosing you anymore. I'm not managing you anymore. I'm going to own this new version of me. I'm going to own the truest version of me. And I'm going to unbecome all of that other junk. Many women stay in the passenger seat because survival feels so familiar. It feels comfortable. Autopilot feels so much safer than transformation because you're not having to stop, disrupt, look at these things, and then have to consciously choose different things every day until it becomes your new identity. So these common fears, this is the key part, the common fears of these women that are in the passenger seat, and the reason why they're not ready to jump over into the driver's seat, they're not ready to stop managing things. They don't want to own things. They want to keep managing because it's what feels comfortable and normal and whatnot. And also there's fears. And the list of fears that I have here is she's afraid to jump over to that driver's seat and own her life because she's afraid of who would this disappoint? This would probably disappoint people if I changed. If I start managing all these expectations, like I'm gonna have to disappoint people. I'm gonna be misunderstood. What if people misunderstand me? What if they think that I'm X, Y, and Z? Who cares? Another one, fear of change. Okay, so if I start choosing this, if I'm designing my life in this way, if I'm getting into the driver's seat, that means there's change. So what does that mean? Fear of the unknown, right? You always lived your life over here in this way. This is unknown over here. So fear of change. There's a fear of being fully seen in your truth. Fully seen in your truth. Because all along, you have been this other person in the passenger seat. Again, not lazy, just being too capable of managing your life. And if you jump over into the driver's seat, there could be this fear of being fully seen in who you truly are. Because again, you're going to be peeling back the layers and saying no more to all these other things. There's another fear of maybe possibly outgrowing relationships. Outgrowing relationships. Let me tell you something. There's another thing that really changed my world. It changed my world when I started getting into the self-development work. Getting yourself around expanders is another golden nugget, is like another key, okay? Because like taking self-responsibility, radical self-responsibility, and getting yourself around expanders, I can go on and on, but like those two out of tonight, like those are huge golden nuggets. Because if you are around people who don't see the future, they don't see the potential, they don't see past whatever limitations they have, or they don't see things because they're over here juggling, managing. They're not owning and saying, okay, no to this, no to that. I want to see this, I want to see that. They're not consciously designing and creating and choosing. Those relationships, if you are stuck over here, you become like the 5 people that you hang around with. So who are the people? What relationships do you have? And what are they speaking into you? Are they speaking life into you? Are they bringing you to the next level? Are they cheering you on? I get it. I get that that's a fear of outgrowing those relationships. But again, I just went a little bit deeper on that because I want you to get the idea of this, of how much greater life can be when you outgrow those relationships and you find new ones. You get inside of groups with expanders, the people that are already like 10 steps ahead of you. You're like, what? I had no idea that's available to me. I'm like, yeah, here, like this, like go read this book, go do this. Let me show you how. It's like, okay, sign me up. Like, where have you been all my life? And then another one that I wrote here is that there's the fear of finally admitting that, oh my gosh, my life, this life right here, no longer fits me. I've been doing all of this stuff and it's almost like an embarrassment. It could be an embarrassment, not really even a fear. It's an embarrassment. It's like, oh, okay, I've been over here juggling my life, owning it as, oh, I can take it all on and I'm fine. But then internally, like, oh, this doesn't fit me anymore. When you're in that passenger seat and you're headed over to the driver's seat, there's that fear. There's that fear of embarrassment that you're going to let the world know. You're going to have to let the world know that you're no longer living in that life. That life no longer fits you. Because then that starts opening up the questions. Well, what's wrong? What happened? Hey, we have to catch up. Tell me more. All of this stuff. And it's like, whoa. Like, quit making a story. Quit making a sad story about this. Like, this is a story of freedom, of ease, of, like, anyways, I'm not gonna get off topic, but there is that fear of embarrassment. Autopilot protects you from discomfort, but it also disconnects you from your power. And eventually you wake up carrying a life that no longer feels aligned. So this is where we're going to get a little hands-on. And this is where we're going to take decision. We're going to take decision and we're going to do action and put them together. We're going to make a decisive action. Okay. So what, again, I'm going back to my notes here. What is one area of your life where you have been in the passenger seat? What's just one area? It could be work. It could be a friendship. It could be a partner. It could be, it could be that, let's just say you should be getting to the gym or you should be eating better or something like that. Where's somewhere that you have been in the passenger seat? You know better and you feel like, gosh, there's something else out there for me, but you're just like sitting on the edge of it because you've either got that fear or you're just maybe not even aware of it, or you're just not open to, you're like, I feel like I've done everything right. I feel like I can keep taking this on. I'll just shove it down, right? Just shove it down. Like that's like, seems like the best scenario most of the time when you're the passenger. Just keep shoving it down. No, stop. The reason why you're in this masterclass is because we are going to the driver's seat, okay? So what is one decision that you have been avoiding? That's the next one. What is one decision you've been avoiding? What's one decisive action that you can take within the next 24 hours? So that nagging thought or whatever it is that you have been putting on pause, you've been shoving down, one decisive action that you can take within the next 24 hours. That alone will put you into the driver's seat of your life. That alone. How cool is that? And then as you continue to keep taking those steps, little by little, you're going to realize that you're no longer managing. You're owning this, you're owning that. You're like, keep going back. Okay, what's another area? And you keep checking off those boxes The boxes for your life, the one that you're designing. Not the ones that the expectations from past generations, the one that you've inherited, the labels that have been slapped on you. Like, shake it all off, like rip them off. No, we're done with that, okay? You're gonna check the boxes for yourself and get you into the driver's seat of your life. Fully owning it, no longer managing things and pushing things down. Small shifts create massive action, okay? We've got precision, we've got adjustment, and then we've got that intentional correction. And that's what I'm talking about, okay? And that intentional correction, time after time after time, that is how self-trust is then rebuilt. You're gonna build more self-trust. You don't need the confidence, you don't need all of that. This is what builds that. Self-trust will build that self-confidence. Okay, so here we are. Tonight was never about just motivation, right? I said in the beginning that this is about awareness, and awareness is what changes what you tolerate, okay? Awareness changes what you normalize and what you choose, okay? But awareness alone can't get you to transformation. It can't get you to embodiment. And again, like I said, this is where most women stop. They stop here. They have the realization and then they never actually integrate that shift. They have the realization that, oh, okay, maybe I'm sitting here over in the passenger seat. I want to get over to that driver's seat, but they haven't actually integrated that shift. This masterclass, again, is fully on awareness, not the integration. So this is why I said that I wanted to invite you into something so fun and so cool at the end of this masterclass, and it is called the recalibration mode. The recalibration mode. I want to invite you to join me inside of this experience for just $22. $22. So in recalibration mode, this is where we're going to deepen this work together. We're going to integrate it, okay, so that we can shift, so we can get from the passenger seat into the driver's seat. We're no longer managing, we're no longer pushing things down, suppressing things. We are over here fully owning it and designing the life that you truly crave, the one that's true to you, okay? And this is not going to be another motivational course. It's not going to be just about awareness. Of course, there's going to be tons of awareness, things that come to awareness, your awareness in it. But this is not, it's not going to be surface level mindset work, okay? This is going to be guided recalibration of your identity, your nervous system, your standards, your leadership, your self-trust. I just talked about that. And then the way that you intentionally show up for you, for your life. The one that's true and authentic to you. We're no longer signing up for the top regret of the dying, of not living a life true to ourselves. It stops here. Like I said, I've heard enough. I'm standing here. We're not doing that. We're living a life true to ourselves from here on out. We're not dying with that regret. So seeing the pattern is one thing, but actually shifting that pattern is another. And inside the recalibration mode, that's where we're going to go deeper. We're going to go deeper into that survival mode and the nervous system regulation. So that way you can start opening up your mindset and actually seeing beyond what your current circumstances are. So you can start seeing, oh, okay, like, yeah, I would desire that. These are my passions. This is what I would truly like. These are my core values, right? We talk about, go further into the self-abandonment, overfunctioning. How are you overfunctioning your life? I will work with you on this. Conscious ownership. Let's be the owners of our life. Consciously owning it every step of the way. Intentional self-leadership. Identity recalibration. Alignment. Emotional awareness. I'm reading off my notes. Practical implementation, right? This is for the woman who knows that I don't want to keep operating in the same version, in survival mode anymore, right? Hop into recalibration mode where we can go deeper into all the stuff that I just provided awareness around. By the end of recalibration mode, you will recognize your unconscious survival patterns. You'll understand how to stop stop reacting and then start creating and start leading and start owning. You'll be reconnected with your voice and your alignment. You'll rebuild that self-trust. You'll have self-trust through your internal instincts. You'll have that feeling back. You'll feel more emotionally grounded and regulated. You'll understand how to shift from that autopilot into conscious living, which I think you already know. But again, this is just awareness. I want to get you into implementation. I want you to shift. Okay? So you'll walk away with that clarity, with that ownership, and then that new standard of yourself. Again, it's not about becoming someone new. It's easy to say that. It's about returning back to what is true for you. Okay? So recalibration mode, it is going to happen in June, and it is going to be a 2-module experience with me. So we'll have two calls, and there will be replays. If you're not able to join, there will be replays that you can watch at your own convenience. And because you are here with me in the beginning stages of my coaching journey, this is being offered at a special price, special introductory founder's rate of $22. So another reason too is that I truly wanted this to be accessible for women who are ready to have deeper implementation and support. Because back when I started this work, there was a lot of information and a lot of awareness, but there was nothing that was actually going to get me into a deeper level, into implementation at the rate that I could get into myself. I've become the woman that I needed 9-10 years ago. That's who I am today. And so $22 founder's rate, recalibration mode. Again, I'm making this accessible for many women so that we can get that implementation in there and that we can make that shift. So that we're not just sitting on awareness and sitting on information. I want us to change. I want us to move from the passenger seat into the driver's seat and fully own our life. So I want to say this here. Thank you for being with me at the very beginning. Thank you for being here in the masterclass. Your support means more to me than you'll ever know. And if the recalibration mode is something that you're like, I'm not sure about this, I need more information about it, I will be in my DMs. DM me. I am always open for that, and I actually have a few spots open for a 30-minute free consultation. We'll just kind of get clarity around where you're at and just see if it's a good fit for you, because I don't want you to jump into something that is not, you're still a little iffy about it, and you're just oh, okay, I'll just go ahead and go into it. No, I want to make sure that this is the right fit for you. Again, like I said, I want to be the woman that I needed 10 years ago. Okay, and I want to be that for you. So there are multiple ways to work with me. It's not just recalibration mode. Recalibration mode is a great start, right? You could jump into the free consultation. We'll kind of talk about where you're at and see where the next, how I could help you and serve you in the best way. Moving forward, whether that's recalibration mode or whether that is, a deep dive. It could be an hour, 2-hour deep dive, a life audit on your life, or maybe even a specific area that you would want me to dig into and see where we could make that shift happen for you and implement, and then design a life that you truly crave, the one that you desire, the one that's made for you, right? And so, like I said, my DMs are always open. Come and find me there. I have those few spots for those 30-minute consultations. Let's see, I have some more notes here. And then also, too, I wanted to say that if this masterclass impacted you, encouraged you, gave you language to something that you have been feeling internally but never had the words to say it, I would love it if you would help me spread this message, whether it's sharing, whether it's tagging, whether it's, I don't know, liking, loving, whatever it is. I would love for you to help me share this with the world, share this message with the world on your social media, however it is, copying a link, sending it, texting it, whatever it may be. So if you feel if you feel, if you feel the nudge to share this on your social media and tell your friends, I would be so, so honored. There are many women out there that they're silently craving, this other life. They're carrying lives that were never meant for them. They don't feel aligned. They don't even have awareness around it to how to change their life. They have no idea. They don't even see this other side that I've just brought to you tonight, that I brought awareness around tonight. And so again, if you feel called, one of the greatest gifts that you could give in return to this masterclass would be a testimonial. I would love to hear what stood out to you most. I would love to hear what your biggest takeaway was. I would love to hear what shifted for you in your mindset just during this masterclass. I would love that in return. And like I said, you can just DM me. You can comment below, whatever you would like to do, make a post, whatever, totally open. Just make sure that you tag me so that I can see it and I can just share the love back to you, and thank you for that. So, yeah, so let's see. I got some more notes here. Yeah, I just wanted to say that again, I'm so grateful that you're here tonight, and I am so excited for recalibration mode. For those of you that join in and those that reach out in my DMs, like I said, there's multiple ways to work with me. You can do one-on-one coaching. We can do the consultation call, whatever feels aligned for you. So I want you to stay connected. I want you to be well. I want you to protect your peace, protect your energy. I want you to lead intentionally. I want you to start designing your life. And remember that we were never created to live on autopilot. We were created to live aligned, awake, set apart, fully present in the life that God has called you into. Okay. So with that, I just want to say all my love. Thank you for being here tonight. I love you so much, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye. And it won't let me push finish.